So you are looking to buy a nuke or a beehive. What I'm going to cover is what to look for, which one to choose, it's a personal preference, and what you should at least walk away with, even if you go and buy a nuke from somebody else. So, and I'm in the Brisbane area, and we are blessed with not having snow, so we don't have to go through all the problems that many overseas people do in these really cold climates. What that means is an extended season for us as well in the greater Brisbane area. Now, if you're thinking of beekeeping and you're in a built-up area, you will find that you will do particularly well, because even in drought, people will water their gardens, trees will flower, there will be resources for the bees to use. Now, we had a lot of fires and floods recently in Australia, which has knocked out a huge amount of our population. And what we need to do is to build that population up. And it is my aim to build it up as best I can by telling people all about beekeeping. I'm elderly and I'm disabled, and I make elderly disabled boxes so that absolutely anyone can beekeep as long as you have an interest and a passion, because these are like your pets. And the way I feel about my bees is their welfare is so important to me, and I'll do anything to keep the hives going. It's not about selling a nuke to you, it's about finding good homes and getting the bees out there into our community. A couple of years ago, I couldn't grow a zucchini on my property because there was nothing to pollinate them. Now I don't have any problems at all, and anything I plant is well pollinated because of the hives. Now, whether you should buy a nuke or a hive. If you buy a nuke, you will save yourself at least a couple of $100s. The only thing is, if you buy a nuke, you've got to have a box to put the nuke into, because the nuke should be nearly overflowing and the bees should be ready to be moved into a larger box. If you're not buying a nuke that's got a lot of bees in it, just don't buy it, because it's not the nuke for you. I do both 4 and 5 frame nukes, and what the 4 frame is cheaper. That's it. The same as buying an existing hive. If you know what you're looking for, there's no diseases, go and buy an existing hive, take a beekeeper with you who knows what to look for, and that would be the fastest way to get you up and running and get your honey. But if you want to save yourself some money and grow with your hive, well, buy a nuke, 4 or 5 frame. It's up to you. If you have a 4 frame, it means that you've got 6 frames to expand into if you're just going to use your standard Langstroth box, or if you've got 5 frames, well, you've got 5 frames to expand into. So nukes allow you to grow with the nuke. A lot of people go and join a club, and 6 months later they start their beekeeping, and they find that the learning curve of the beekeeping is really exponential. I believe that you would never know all you need to know about beekeeping, because you learn something every time you open the hives. And it's a little bit like watching the tennis on TV. You can watch the tennis on TV all day for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then I'll give you a tennis racket and say, go and hit it over the net, and you won't be able to. And that's like beekeeping. I believe the fastest and easiest way to start your beekeeping journey is with bees, and the bees will teach you. I can show you a fabulous support group on Facebook that has different units so that you can educate yourself for free. And then if you come against any problems, you can post to the group with over 11,000 members. People will write back to you regardless of how silly you think your question might be, and they will tell you exactly what to do. Now, joining a local club is a fabulous resource, and you will meet friends and find people will come over and help you in the beekeeping. So there's lots of things you can do, but the best thing you can do, of course, is to get started, and that's either with a nuke or a hive. So what to look for in either one? Well, in a nucleus, you need all the different resources that the bees need to survive. You need some honey. If there's no honey in the hive, you may have to feed them initially with sugar water. Normally the nukes have made honey because the forager bees have been bringing different resources back. You're looking for eggs, newly laid eggs from the queen. You're looking for larvae. You're looking for beautiful brood patterns, and you are looking for pollen and also diseases. You might find you open a nuke and there's a few black beetle in there. Well, that's pretty normal in hot climates like we have. And I always put black beetle traps in my nukes to try and limit the destruction that they can do. Same, you might find wax moth. But the diseases that are possible in your boxes, that's something that you need to research as you go along. And it's so easy. If you found something on the frame that you didn't know what it is, you just take a picture of it, post it on the group, and they would tell you. It's that easy. Now, what happens when you come to have a look at the different nukes? And I don't always take them from a nuke box. Sometimes I have existing hives that are starting off, and I will actually go and take the frames straight out of the hive and put them in the box for you. It just depends on what I have available. What we're doing in this video is we're actually having a look on all the frames for the queen. Now, in this particular instance, unbelievably, we went through the frames twice, couldn't find the queen, knew she was there because there were lots of eggs in the box. And what I ended up doing to the person who took the box was said, look, if there's any problem, give me a ring next week, give me a ring in a month. If there's any problem, we'll swap you over, we'll do whatever you need to do to get you up and running. And that's exactly what our plan is. Anyway, of course, there was a queen in the box. It's just that she was hiding. We didn't actually find her. We could have shook the whole box through a queen excluder, and then she would have been on the top of the excluder. The only thing is that would have disrupted all the bees in the box. They were disrupted enough. And what I was trying to do, because the person wanted to take it during the day when the forager bees were out, we were trying to keep as many bees in the box as we possibly can. So we decided to take the box away. If there's any issues later, we'll sort them out. What I'm doing here is I use sugar water, and it's just a mix of half sugar and half water in a squirt bottle. And it's instead of the smoke. Now, I'll use both, but I do prefer the sugar water, because if it was you, would you like smoke in your face, or would you like sugar water on your body where all your bee mates come and lick the sugar water off after the beekeeper's gone away? Well, the sugar water would be what I chose, and what it also does, it stops the bees from flying. It wets their wings and they can't fly temporarily. So you'll see I use the sugar water. Sometimes I use the smoke I'll smoke them to get them to go back in the hive. But even using sugar water, you can do that to get them to go back in the hive. So it's a personal choice, but the smoke tells them that beekeepers here. So you might choose both like I do. Anyway, that'll do, I think, for this video. I hope you've learnt something. The big message here is just get started. One thing I didn't mention was you may consider doing 2 nukes when you start off. And what happened in the beginning of my bee journey was I bought 1 nuke, and the bee club president told me it's a good idea to have 2 hives, because if something goes wrong, you can use the second hive to fix it. So 2 months later, I actually bought the second nuke and put it in the hive. And then I was around for about a month, and I went travelling. Well, when I returned, there was no queen in the hive. I didn't know what she did, where she went, but it was queenless. So I had the other hive that I could fix the queenless challenge with. So I pulled a frame out of the first hive that had a lot of eggs on it and put it in the second hive, and they actually requeened that hive, and we fixed it. Now, some people just don't want a second hive. Like if you're in the Logan area and you're on a small property, you'll only be allowed to have one hive on your property. The council will come out and check what you're doing. So it may not be suitable. However, anyone who buys bees off me, if they have challenges in the future, I'm quite happy to sell you a frame for $50 with eggs on it so that you can write your beehive and so you'll head in the right direction. Anyway, I'm going to start doing show and tell bees in the very near future, where you can come to my property and I'll open the hive and we'll just go through, have a look at them. I'll do a little bit of education if you have questions that you want to know. If you're thinking about beekeeping, look out for me, especially if you're in the Greater Brisbane area or South Side, and I would love to meet you and talk about bees. Catch you then. Bye.